Yeah, hello everyone. I can't get enough of that intro.
It's awesome.
Yeah, you're listening to Whiskey Wednesday, a podcast and video where we talk about technology, more specifically development. And today we are going to talk about how you can use Twitter for yourself. So we're going to talk a little bit how uh, you can get opportunities there and a little bit how to grow there. And also, if we have time left, some pitfalls you can fall into when doing that. We have some amazing guests in the show today. First, Catalin Pitt. He's a junior developer based in Romania at the moment. We have Telmo, a software engineer based in Portugal, and we have Dimitri, an EdHack instructor, a freelancer based in Ukraine. So, how you guys doing?
All good.
Awesome. Happy to be here.
Good,
Perfect.
man. Thank you for having me on this podcast or
thanks.
series.
Thanks for coming. So, I think it's. We lost.
We lost Scott.
Telmo. No, Scott. Yeah.
No, I'm here. We lost Scott.
Okay. Here's there. Yeah, I think we can just start by.
Sorry, guys.
Welcome back. We can start by talking a little bit about our own experience in the Twitterverse. I think everyone has a little bit of a different experience. I think let's start with Catalin. Tell us a little bit about your journey. I think you started not that long ago.
Yes, I started on Twitter actually in 2010, but I didn't use it. So I started using it properly in January. But I was on Twitter on November and December as well, but I didn't post as much, just occasionally looking. It's been 6 months now. I want to say that I used to hate Twitter. I never understood its purpose. I never liked it, but in these 6 months, man, I just love it. It kind of becomes an addiction. So it's been a crazy 6 months. I met lots of new people, lots of cool people like you. I met all of you on Twitter, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I can say I made friends. Even if you don't consider me your friend, I still consider you my friends. So,
you're our friend.
So, yeah, this is my intro about Twitter. I'll go into more specific details when you start asking questions.
Okay. Telmo, can you tell us a little bit about your journey on Twitter?
Sure. I actually created an account on Twitter back in 2007. But like Catalin, I never actually engaged on Twitter. I did the occasional tweet. That's it. Then I had like several accounts after that. I got tired of Twitter, so I deleted an account. After a few months, I was back again. So I created an account last year again. But like Catalin, I also started like this year in January. And I guess that's when I actually understood like the whole tech community on Twitter, which is amazing. People are really supportive. So yeah, it's been a fun journey. And as you know, I like to tweet dumb stuff. So
that's always fun. Dimitri, what can you tell us? You told me before that you got some great opportunities out of Twitter. Can you tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, I think Twitter has contributed a lot to my growth. It has accompanied me through my journey lately. I've started to use Twitter probably like around 2 years ago, maybe 1.5 years. Not sure even, but like I was inspired by all these posts like Learn in Public, like 100 Days of Code and stuff. And I tried it myself and I got really addicted to Twitter. I landed the egghead instructing job, not a job, but fun thing to do on Twitter. And I formed a lot of connections on Twitter that helped me drastically throughout my journey as software developer.
Cool. Scott, I also know just very little about your Twitter journey. Can you tell us, or the audience, about your... Can you hear me? No. Scott?
We lost the
yeah, I mean, Twitter for me, I set up my first Twitter account. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, I think there's a delay of some sort. Scott.
Maybe Scott connection is not very stable because he dropped
is that
before
for me,
as well.
or is it for everyone? I was hearing it a minute ago.
Okay. Okay, I'm just going to talk about a little bit of my journey. Maybe when I'm finished, Scott's connection is better. Yeah, I also started like Telmo like in 2008, I think, April, where I started my Twitter account, and I just also tweeted like stupid stuff with no followers, like I'm eating a banana bread, and oh yeah, coding is so cool. Probably, I don't know. I don't even want to go back and look what I tweeted back then. But I started using Twitter a little bit more seriously starting in December, I think. When I did a giveaway, and it got me quite of a load of followers, and from there I got more followers the more I tweeted stuff, and yeah, in the past also I got quite a few opportunities from Twitter. I think 2 of the past jobs I had originated in Twitter. Oh, cool. Scott is back. Can you hear us? Can we hear you? No.
I guess there's a huge delay on the sounds.
Okay. Yep.
Scott. Okay. I think we are experiencing some technical difficulties. 1 second.
Wow. Okay, so I will talk at a delay. So yeah, I'm really not sure what's going on with it. So I'll just talk, and I set up my my Twitter profile in 2009 as back when I was right into Android phones, and after that I like the rest of the guys, I didn't really know how to use it, what it was for, and I think there was an issue I had with an Android phone, and then I started just searching on it and finding stuff and other people who used it properly, and found pretty much like the dev community. I found a really good sort of community of Android enthusiasts, and pretty much just knew how to use it from there. Small scale, I didn't really sort of get a lot of engagement for what I tweeted and stuff like that, but it was a really good feeling where you could just sort of talk to people about anything you needed to. And then back when I started learning web dev in 2016, I set up another account to do the same sort of thing, just engage and get what I can out of the community. Unlike everyone else, I haven't really had any job offers, or I got a speaking gig from Jesse Otten. I think no, it's not Jesse Otten, from GraphCMS. That was really good. So it does open doors for you in that respect. So yeah, I'll be quiet now and let the delay catch up with everyone.
Okay. Yeah. So when I started Twitter, like it's overwhelming, right? Like you are there, like with like 4 or 5 followers, and you wonder like, wow, this person has 1,000 followers. How do I get there? What do you guys think is a great way to get like started with getting some meaningful followers and getting some also meaningful content on your timeline?
I mean, I think I had the wrong idea when I actually created the Twitter, like back in the day, because I had the sense that why people are not actually liking my content. The thing is that the mindset I had, it was that whatever I share, like why they don't actually like it. So I think you need to find like your niche of people. So for my specific case, I started to realizing that people really liked when I share tips, like JavaScript tips, CSS tips, etc. So I guess I went from there and I tried like sharing more and more tips. That's when I realized, okay, people really like this. But you know that's your audience. So you know you need to focus on that. You can like obviously shift a little bit like from time to time, but you know your audience. And I guess that's for me, it's the main thing. Like you need to focus on your audience, you need to engage, and I mean, from there you just need to wait. That's pretty much it, and keep posting.
Yes. Anyone else has a good way to get started?
First of all, decide what you're good at and try to do that. I used to post everything on Twitter, but not useful stuff. So one day I decided, okay, what I'm good at. I'm a junior developer. I went through some rough periods, so maybe I can share what I learned, what I did, and things like that, and maybe I can help other people. So that's what I did. In the beginning, I used to do that mass tagging of people, asking them, how do you prevent burnout and things like this. So I figured it out as that's not a good way of engaging with people by spamming them. It's not a good way of using 10,000 tags to get people. So just try to find something you're good at, find people around that area or in that area, interact with their accounts, see who they follow, see who follows them, see who interacts with them, see people they interact with, try to interact with those people. Never mass tag people in messes. Don't spam hashtags. Don't ask people to follow you back. These are common. This is common sense, but for me it wasn't. Just do you, post quality content, focus on what you're good at, interact with people, and you'll start to see your account grow slowly.
Yes, I totally agree. You have to get started with following some people that are in the niche you define for yourself. So every account should have some sort of niche. Like I think all of us, we are web developers, or others are I don't know, cooking recipes. But it should be mostly that kind of content. Even though you can share stuff about your own life. But then you can follow people that are in that niche, as Katalin said, interact with them, write helpful comments back, and before you know it, you have like a couple of more followers just because you helped someone out and other people found it helpful. I think one of the biggest secret to get started with Twitter is to help others in the replies when someone has a question or some opinion exchange. It's always great.
Yeah, and when I say interact with people, it doesn't mean to spam all their tweets with I agree, well done, and things like that. Only reply if you feel like you have something useful to add.
Yes, definitely.
I feel I feel like one of the most valuable advices that you could have when you're starting out on Twitter is that you have to be authentic. This is something that many people are really losing at. So they are trying to be someone else than they are. They're trying to post something. They're trying to get the followers. They're too much focused on the like vanity metrics, on the followers count, on the likes, on the retweets, but they are not being who they really are. I think if you are really like have some thoughts, and if you are starting out small, it's better that you go step by step, slowly. You just, as guys said, you find your audience, you start like doing the targeted tweets on that audience, whether it be educational content, which is like all we know it's not going that great, or it's fun content, which is going better always. Like people love fun content, like jokes, memes, GIFs, etc. So you just find your solution for that. You don't you don't have to be hypocrite. You don't have to put a mask on yourself. Just be yourself. Go like follower by follower. Engage with interesting people. As Katalin said, you don't need to like really spam something on the people and answer on every tweet. Like if you have something that which is like really adding to the discussion, or if you have a conversation starter, you can also do that on Twitter. So if you have a question, or if you have a topic which could be a good starting point for the like big thread, go ahead and do it. You can even like, of course, this may account as the mass tagging, but you can also ask people to answer you like, okay, I have this kind of topic. What do you think, Katalin? And tag the person. If it's not offensive, if you're being polite, and if you are being honest with yourself and the other person, then usually like I would reply to those tweets always. So if it's really something that doesn't make me angry, I would be up for participating in discussion, especially if the person is looking up at me and asking me to participate in something. And this is something that, that all people on Twitter shall know, because if people think that, okay, there is a guy, he has like 20,000 followers or 50,000 followers, he will probably never answer to me. This guy or girl, they will be afraid, and this is like never going into the right direction. Like if you want to start a discussion with somebody, write them if they have DMs open. This will probably work out in the most of cases if the person doesn't have the like huge list of DMs unanswered. Those are probably the good starting tips that I would follow at least.
Yes.
Cool.
You talked about Dimitri. You talked about DMing people. I feel like I should slide in there a little bit and display what not to, how not to start a conversation on Twitter. Like I get tens of messages every day on Twitter, and 80% of them are like only hi or hello.
Exactly.
Like without the concrete question. If you want to get the attention of someone, it doesn't even matter if it's a Twitter, someone on Twitter, or another person that's more important or busier. You keep it short and sweet, but go in with a concrete question or a concrete proposal. Hello, I am this and this. I liked your content on this and that, and I have a question about this. Maybe you can help me. The problem is this and this. What are your thoughts on this? That is usually the kind of.
This is an awesome take.
That would go for anything though. You don't just send an email to someone with hi, or a letter, or any other sort of forms of communication. And I don't know. I think a lot of people think it's just an icebreaker or just a tester to say, are they going to reply to me? And a lot of the time, I mean, I don't get a great deal of DMs, probably because I'm not female. But a lot of, I mean, especially females on Twitter, you'll just see screenshots of just hi, just like one-liners. And it's just not the way to start a conversation. It's just like what you said, Mark. It's you need to. It's the same if you're going to write an email to someone. You need to be respectful of their time and just say, look, X, Y, Z. This is the situation. Hi, how you doing? This is the situation. I've got this, that, and the other. What do you think of this? And a lot of the times, just to help people out as well, you can actually phrase a response just to say, to be extra sort of mindful of their time and how they would reply to you. You can just give them options. Yes, I'd like to talk to you about this. No, can't do it right now, but maybe another time, or what you DMing me for, sort of thing. So there's ways to do it over just a hi. So I mean that's the same thing, not just for Twitter, but I do know it is on there a lot. Just for most things in general, if you're reaching out to someone, just to have that information, an introduction.
Don't ask to
maybe.
marry them straight away. That's also something I see mainly from female users. Oh yeah, I got another marriage proposal or something. Oh, we have an interesting question. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I think the good rule of thumb for the people who are reaching out via DMs and writing hi is like just to think before sending the message. Like, would you reply to that message yourself if you would get this message in your DMs? If the answer would be yes, then probably go ahead and try. If like 100 people don't answer you, probably you're doing something wrong, and you should reconsider what you are deeming as right and what you're deeming as wrong.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I have another question here from Danny. How do you feel about accounts taking your posts? I know many of you, including myself, find people taking your posts. How do you deal with that? I suppose he's talking about people just copying and reposting your content, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
I have a funny story.
Yeah, go ahead, Dimitri.
And you know the story. Someday, I just posted something that was like, I don't know what CSS stands for, wrong answers only, or something like that. And that was exact same tweet by you, done like probably an hour before or like 30 minutes before, Mark. And basically, maybe I just saw it and I didn't like took it into account, but I subconsciously put it into my head and then I tweeted it. But I meant nothing wrong and I didn't want to steal it, but somehow it ended up there. But what I want to say is that like Twitter and opinions and developers especially, like we are quite tight circle on the Twitter, and tweets will duplicate themselves over time. Like, of course, it's something which is quite unusual to see the tweet which has been tweeted like 2 hours ago by other person, the very same tweet in 2 hours. This is stupid. But I feel like if somebody has tweeted something and it was like reworded and has been tweeted some years ago, some months ago, maybe the person even didn't mean that. It could be that they just had the same opinion. They could be thinking the same direction. Maybe they're facing the same problem. This could be the case. And like, for me, I haven't really encountered people stealing my posts or copying my posts with changing wording, etc. But I mean, I wouldn't be outraged with that. Especially, like, it's not an educational post. If it would be an educational blog post or a video content, then yes, probably this is something which is subject to copyright infringement. But for tweets, I think it's quite like, I would say it's gray zone topic, because tweets is not something that is like super unique, that everyone hasn't tweeted what JavaScript stands for 5,000 times already, and you will just say, okay, I won't tweet that again.
Yeah, I think the thing is that the content on there gets turned around so often, and you could tweet the same thing, several times a day, and a lot of people would only see one of those.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of the platform. It's what's the word for it? It's, you know, you're in that moment at that time, unless you've got that weird algorithm thing on where it shows you the best tweets first. It's like a chronological thing, so you get them as they turn up, and if you don't see it, then you know you're only going to come across it if you do some random search, I guess, or someone else retweets it from doing something similar. So I don't think anyone should feel bad about reposting stuff. Or someone said it a couple of weeks ago that you post something and you know you expect the whole world to see it and be like, oh wow, what an insightful post, and you know things like that. But you know, I'd say 100%, 99% of the time, it's missed, and you know, not the amount of people you're expecting to pick it up would pick it up. So just do it. I mean, going back to Danny's question though, my tweets aren't funny enough or insightful enough for anyone to want to to copy them and repost them. So I guess I've got that going for me.
Also, we know that on Twitter we don't retweet stuff; we just rephrase it and make it as our own. But jokes aside, I had people copying my tweets word by word, and I couldn't even get mad because it was a post celebrating 2,000 people. Not 2,000, 20,000 people following me. So he copied word by word with all the people I tagged and everything. And it just didn't make sense in his situation. So I spoke to him and he said, I just like the tweet and I copied. But yeah, I think Danny is talking about those people that literally copy paste your tweet. And even though the ideas are not unique, I mean, not all of them, I don't think is the right way to copy tweets word by word. For example, if I copy what CSS stands for and you do the same post, that's something that's not unique and everybody can say it. But if I talk about like some event in my developer life, if I can say like that, and somebody copies word by word, then that's not good because it doesn't make sense for them. So I think everybody should try to be unique and talk their thoughts because everyone is unique and everyone has something to share. There is no point in copying anybody. You don't get far. I had a guy copying everything I wrote on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and I just talked with him and he deleted everything. But yeah, there's no point in doing that.
Yeah, I think that like there are accounts that systematically copy your posts that do well, but even though on those accounts, I would say being copied is like the biggest form of flattery. So when someone copies something you post, even though it's something like you spend a lot of time on, like I think it's great because it means that you're doing something right, that you have something important to add to something or funny or whatever, but it adds value to someone or to enough people that someone needs to copy it. I think it's approval in many cases.
Yeah. When Caitlin was talking about the guy just straight up retweeting everything, I mean, not retweeting, but like parroting his tweets. I was thinking that was like a bot. I thought the guy just made a bot and it just got it to, you know, to tweet the content Caitlin made, which is a good topic as a developer. I mean, has anyone made a Twitter bot here? I think that's one of the first things I got into as a doing development, like web development, was just playing about the Twitter API, and it's how I sort of got engagement going to begin with a bot where I'd have like keywords and I'd retweet or like random things which sort of match like a keyword array, and sometimes you get replies and stuff like that. So that helped. But I was just wondering if that was the case with Caitlin when he was talking about it, but it just sounded like the guy was just straight up copy pasting his tweets, which is it's quite funny. So Mark, there's Danny's question. 2 ones above that, there's one from Rob Kendall, who comments on your shirt which everyone should.
Oh,
Do you have allocated time for scheduling posts?
oh, yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. So I've sort of pared down my time on Twitter recently because it can just take up all of it. It's like TikTok. I've uninstalled TikTok as well from my phone. It just sucks up all your time. So I've uninstalled it from my phone intentionally, and I'm just using Twitter like on my computer when I get a break, sort of thing. So I'm not one of these sort of heavy users, and I don't schedule tweets or anything like that. And I'm pretty sure from speaking to Caitlin in the past, I don't think you do it as like a full-time job. But I think it's a good question for Rob, because I'm guessing that some people are watching and use things like Buffer and some of these sort of aggregation tools for Twitter. So it's just what's your opinions, or if you've done anything like that. I think it'd be a good one to sort of go through.
Yeah, I can take a take on this. So at first I didn't schedule anything, but once I started actually sharing the tips, etc., I started realizing that Twitter can be like really time consuming. So I started kind of scheduling the tips. So I would take probably half an hour after dinner every day. I would build the tips, write the posts, and schedule them for the next day. Then I kind of dropped that, but I would save the tweets as drafts. So you still need to go into Twitter and post the tweets yourself. And now, since I have the Twitter schedule, the feature they introduced like a few weeks ago, I'm starting using it again. So basically, it's like between half an hour and an hour, depends on the date. But usually, like every day, if I have an idea, if I have a tip to share, so I just schedule, so I don't actually have to log in into Twitter during the day.
Yes, I am using scheduling like very poorly. Like I bought an expensive subscription to something called Hype Fury, just like a week before Twitter introduced the scheduling functionality. So that's money down the drain. But don't laugh. It's okay. Yeah, it's funny.
It's not really money down the drain because they have some cool features. I used to use Hype Fury as well.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, I noticed that I like way more tweeting ad hoc. Maybe it's a little bit random when you watch my timeline. Then there's like 20 posts within an hour, and then like 2 days nothing. And but yeah, I don't know if I think I just tweet something when I think about it, except some very rare things where I prepare something today where I don't want to repeat the same type of post that I just did, and I just schedule it for the day after.
So I think this goes back to what I was saying before about everything being in the now on Twitter, and you could be crafting this perfect tweet and send it, and you wouldn't really get the engagement you're after, really. So I always find it's a bit contrived if you do things like that. And if I have done things like that in the past, I've just felt, I wouldn't say dirty, but I just like I don't think it conveys sort of me as the sort of things I'd be asking anyone myself. So I don't, just what I do on this, I think pretty much like you, Mark, is just as things come to me, I'll just post them out and just sort of hope for the best with regards to that. But I mean, I don't think I've ever used any scheduling tool. I think I may have at the very sort of beginning used something. I don't think it was Buffer. I think it was something similar to that, where you give it a load of keywords and it gives you stuff to tweet, and it just didn't really feel like the sort of thing which I thought added value for anything I wanted to be putting into the world, really. So Yeah, that's my sort of opinion on that, I think.
I used
Yeah,
to.
I haven't used the. Sorry, Catalin, go ahead.
Go ahead. It's fine.
I haven't actually used the schedule for weeks now. So I'll pretty much, it's if there's an idea coming to mind, I just tweet it and that's it. I just go there, either on iPhone or on my laptop. I just tweet it and that's it. It sounds like more genuine for some reason. In my world.
Yeah, it does.
That's
Yeah,
why,
I think so.
That's why I stopped using the schedule.
Yeah, if people see that you tweeted through Buffer or High Fury or things like that, they might see that it's not you basically posting that, and they don't feel like engaging maybe. But for me, it worked pretty well, and it works pretty well. And for example, I can share articles or announcements or things like that at a specific time. Or when I sleep, for example, I used to do that quite a few times. Hype Fury, for example, is very useful because you can post two things. No, you can post the same thing on two platforms. So they allow you to post on Twitter and they automatically post a screenshot with your tweet on Instagram as well. They have evergreen tweets, which they automatically retweet for you if they had good engagement, things like that. But yeah, it depends. For me, it works pretty well, and I use it not that much, but I use it because I just cannot stop myself from tweeting when I have an idea. I can rarely stop myself.
So does the retweet come from your account, Caitlin?
Sorry.
So when they say if they find if there's like good engagement on a particular tweet, does it retweet it from your account for you, or is it from another account and it retweets it?
No, for example, let's say you have a very good tweet today and you can add it as an evergreen tweet, and then you can turn I don't know how it's called, that feature, but basically it retweets all the tweets you marked as evergreen. But be aware, because you can become spammy. If you don't set it correctly, it's going to retweet every hour a tweet, so you're going to spam everyone. Imagine 24 tweets in 24 hours, basically one tweet per hour, and if you tweet something else, it adds up. For example, a well-paid Jig, or what's his handle, uses High Fury, so you can see how it works on his account.
Who is that uses it, sorry?
A well-paid Jig or something like that. Yeah, he uses it heavily. So
cool.
I have here another comment. I just I lost it. I think I should weigh in on this. Ali Patek asked, "Don't you think you're over positive and overusing emojis?" I think I should weigh in here. Have you looked at Twitter? Twitter is a war zone. Like, people are ripping each other's heads off for nothing, and maybe some things, yes, but it's basically a war zone where everyone is against each other. It's when you're in the wrong place, it can become very negative. And so I think when people are positive, there's no such thing as over positive. Like, you're adding maybe a lot of positivity for your account to the whole Twitter, but all in all, it's like 5% by 95% ratio. And also, I love emojis.
There's nothing wrong with too much. I don't think there's a thing as too much emojis.
I'm super heavy emoji user. Like, I'm just using emojis all the time. Sometimes I get this thought, like, do people think that I'm dumb from just using emojis so much? But then, like, okay, I just love it. I can live with that if somebody thinks I'm dumb.
I don't know why some people are so triggered by people being over positive. I have to be honest. I don't like people that are too positive. I mean, they don't bother me or something like that. They are just not my type. But I'd rather prefer someone pumping positive stuff, over positive stuff, cheesy stuff, and things like that, rather than negative people or people trying to bring other people down. So if you don't like somebody, just don't look at his or her tweets unless they are doing something harmful. Just mind your...
The block and mute button are there for a reason, aren't they, Caitlin? So you can just mute someone. You don't like what you're seeing, just mute them. It's fine.
Yeah,
A lot of people complain about seeing other people's liked tweets, and if you just mute that person, you won't see that sort of thing anyway. So there's that sort of entitlement around, people getting angry because they're seeing stuff on their phone. I mean, it's.
I don't know why some people like to punish themselves. If you don't like somebody, why do you keep going to his or her profile? Just mute it. Whenever I don't like somebody's post, I just mute it and move on until they are doing harmful stuff. And even then, I don't waste too much time. Just mind your business. Let other people mind their business. The internet is big enough for all of us to make it, man. So
I think you get what you put in as well. People like
that's true.
I mean, you're talking about over positive. Do you think of Danny in the same breath? I mean, not really. The guy is super positive. I don't think, oh God, tone it down, Danny, please. You don't.
Yeah,
The guy, he's there he's everyone's cheerleader. Basically. So and if you don't like that, I mean, what is wrong with you? You got someone cheering you on. What don't you like about that?
And some people keep. I feel like they're staying on Twitter just to spread negativity and things like that, and they don't realize that they are doing a harmful thing to themselves as well. But more than that, future employers check your social media profiles. So I don't see why would you do that. So be careful on how you use social media. First of all, because of your mental health and because future employers check your account. If you don't like someone, just move on unless they are doing some shady or harmful stuff. Then it's totally fine to cancel people, to shout them out, or whatever words you want to use for the word consequence. But just use use
discretion. No, this was really important. I feel liking and retweeting your own tweets. So, so let's just think of the magic emoji with the guy who throws up the confetti. That's what I think every time I like my own tweet or I retweet my own tweet, because why not? And this is the thing. Sometimes you think that was a good tweet, or people need to see that tweet. I'm going to retweet it, and I've done it. So I'm not going to lie, I've done it several times, and I will like my own tweets. Not just to see the number go up, just because I think that's a good tweet. So where do you stand on that? Liking your own tweets and retweeting your own tweets. I know
some people literally build the business idea like Hyperfury with evergreen tweets on retweeting your own tweets. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I never like my own tweets, but I retweet either like quickly after with some like comment on it, not just retweeting, but with some comment on it, where I feel that the reply is not enough. When you just like you said, like this was such a good tweet, I need to comment on it again.
Love you, Danny. Cheers, mate.
But yeah, I think that comes a little bit from the early ages of Facebook, where everybody liked their own Facebook status updates.
Who did that?
I never did that. Yeah, I never did.
Yeah,
there are some
saw plenty of
platforms
people
now,
who did that. So
Reddit. If you post a post on Reddit, it'll automatically upvote your post for you. So there are some platforms that do it. So
then he says, I used to like my tweets. I wrote
Shame
it,
on you.
I like it. But I think he just says he likes it, not clicking the like button on the platform.
No, this is the thing. I wrote a tweet. I liked it. So why shouldn't I like it?
Yeah.
I never do that. Never ever.
me neither.
Okay.
I do retweet a lot of stuff. But I never liked my own stuff. I don't know why. I like what I write. I just don't put. Click like. But yeah, I never do that. And there's these accounts from a kid. I guess it's Kumar. I guess he always does that, so I'm always speaking with him. He always knows, like, if he replies something to my tweet, he automatically likes his own reply. So I'm always speaking with him. I love the dude.
If I want some cheap likes or cheap retweets, I won't do it myself. I will just put the hashtag like 100 days of code and immediately get the like,
yeah, it works perfectly.
5 free likes, 5 free retweets for sure from the bots.
That's right. Okay, so this is the thing when I was talking about earlier about making a bot. It was 100 days of code which got me into that. And thank you, Aman Mittal. It was his guide which I followed initially to make a Twitter bot, and the 100 days of code is an awesome movement. Everyone should do it if you need to get good at coding, or just for any habit you want to form. 100 days of any habit. I'll always plug that any chance I get. But there are a lot of bots on that hashtag now, and the open source code for the 100 days of code Twitter bot, which Aman writ, well done, Aman, and I've contributed to as well. You would just see some of the things it would retweet, and you just see a lot of people just crashing on this hashtag because they knew it would get retweeted by a bot with 27,000 followers. So are you guys mindful? I mean, I don't mean to sort of poo-poo on what you were saying, Dimitri, but I mean, do you think a lot of people just use hashtags in that circumstance just because they know it will get a retweet from a bot? Or I think it just comes back to the authenticity thing, about trying to just be your best self. I was doing air quotes there, but I mean, what's the opinion on hashtags? Because I know from doing my work with bots, I know hashtags don't really matter. If you want to search for a word or like a key phrase, it doesn't need to be a hashtag. It'll just find it regardless. So I find the sort of hashtags a bit redundant in Twitter now. But well, I guess for some things like Black Lives Matter, of course, very important, hashtag to follow. But for other things, Code Newbie, 100 Days of Code, things like that, it's less so because it's like a very, what's the word for it, like beaten a road well traveled sort of hashtag.
I used to like use hashtags a lot because obviously I saw that I get more people, so I reach more people with that. And with my stuff, I just want to, like, this is the purpose. I just want to reach more people, so more people see what I think and engage if they want. Yeah. So this is the paramount purpose of that. But lately I've been using it less and less because I started to see that, like, at some point, just the engagement is the same, which you have like with the 100 days of code tweets without.
Yeah.
And then I only include those thingies, the hashtags, only when I really target that particular audience. So if I have a tweet which is like designed for people who are probably browsing through the hashtag, like really code newbies, then I would probably use the hashtag. If it's like really an advice which is targeted at those. If it's something like really super wide, then probably I wouldn't use that hashtag. I'm also hashtags to highlight the word. So for example, if you want to highlight like JavaScript in the middle of the sentence, could be quite nice. Doesn't bring you anything because like JavaScript, for example, doesn't get retweeted or followed or liked by the bots usually, but still gives you a nice look of the tweet and the feel.
There is a reason behind the hashtag as well. This is something the Twitter gurus don't want you to know. This is our best secret. If you use a hashtag, you get quick engagement from bots, like likes and retweets, and it's more likely to show the tweet in other people's feed. I don't think anybody use it because it's so useful and they want to share their unrelated tweet with 100 days of code. So, and by the way, I was joking with the first part. So I think that's why they use the hashtag, and I'm the first to admit that's why I use it when I use it. Of course, some of my tweets are related. So for example, if I say I liked a non-tech book, I don't use the 100 days of code. But if you tweet something related to coding, that brings quick engagement, and quick engagement makes it more likely for your tweet to show in other people's feed. So now, sorry for the hashtag getting spammed after saying this.
Can we just look at Danny Thompson's question here? He says, when I was learning to code, I was looking for inspiration in those hashtags. So when I do it, I think of my previous self. Danny, I always think of my previous self as well. When I write anything, I always think of that past me, well, also future me, but past me, how would I have felt looking for that thing? So that's why I leave stuff out there, especially on Twitter, but mainly my blog now. So he says, when I was learning to code, I was looking for inspiration for those hashtags. So when I do it, I think of my previous self. Absolutely. That is it. Almost like I'm telling myself, this is for me. Exactly. So maybe I should have read the whole question before I actually started pontificating about it. But yes, if there's ever anything I find useful, which I was like, TIL today I learned. I always share it on Twitter, and if it warrants me doing a write up on it as well, absolutely do that. So, but I'm not sure of the sort of. I'm guessing if you add a hashtag to it, it's always going to be in that field. So when someone comes back to it, 3025, and they're going through all these archives, they go, this is an interesting piece of information here. And I guess it'll be grouped with that hashtag. So yeah, absolutely. That's a good thing to do it. That's a good purpose for it, I guess.
I just think people sometimes abuse the hashtag.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I also used hashtags when I started. I was using the 100 days of code newbie, development, tech. I was using all of those hashtags.
Web dev.
Yeah, dev, web dev, all that kind of stuff, like technology, development. But then when I was around probably, I don't know, around 2,000 followers or something like that, I kind of said, well, I need to stop this. So I stopped using hashtags altogether. And the only tweets I use hashtags, and not always, is when I share a tip, and it's just to highlight if it's JavaScript, HTML, or CSS. That's the only thing. I never put the 100 days of code or code newbie or whatever. But I just feel like if the tweet, like Kathleen mentioned, if the tweet is not mentioned or directed into technology, don't use those hashtags, because if people click the hashtag, they're waiting to find like kind of technology development, a journey, whatever, but it's related with the 100 days of code.
Yeah. So I've stopped using it. I mean, I think this goes back to what Dimitri was saying, is if you want to get a bit of engagement, use that hashtag. I mean, not in just like, buy my book. Mark, you haven't plugged your book today. You've got to plug your book. But not in that sort of fashion, but just if you want to get a bit more engagement to it, then I don't know, you sort of use it and you think, if it's directed at that audience, then fine. But if it's just for like a cheap bit of engagement, then shame on you. But if everyone does it, sort of thing. So and I think it was going back to what you said earlier, Telmo. It's just like, your conscience wins out. It's like, I can't just keep using these all the time because it doesn't feel right that I'm doing it. And you just want to get back to being, or just posting stuff which you feel you need to post, and being authentic in that fashion. But if there's something which you feel that sort of community needs to know, then absolutely do that. So shamelessly, I will say that I've done it in the past, and you don't get the engagement you're after. If it's something which is unrelated to people starting out, then they're not going to engage with it anyway. They're just going to scroll past it and think that's not related to what I want it to do anyway. So you need to sort of find that balance of, is it for that hashtag or isn't it? So it goes back to what Caitlin was saying at the beginning. You just shouldn't spam everything with hashtags.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm going to be honest. It took me a while to realize the retweets and the likes were coming from bots. Every time I use the hashtag, I was like, whoa, people are really liking every time I use hashtag. Then but I never clicked to see like who is retweeting, who is liking the content. I never actually clicked. And when I did, I realized, all right, this is bots.
So,
James
Mark,
Tucker
you got a good
has
question from James Tucker here. Yeah.
Yeah, not a question, a comment. When James started on Twitter, he felt like he was talking to a wall. I think everyone that starts on Twitter feels like that. And he says that hashtags felt like they were the only way to get his content being seen by others.
It's the gateway drug.
Yeah, it's the gateway drug.
And it's true. I think you should use hashtags when you start. I mean, it's a good way to put your content out there. It's just, if you put like a tweet that has 30 words, but you use 40 hashtags, it's just, I'm going to be honest with you, I just don't look at that tweet. If the tweet has like 3, 4 hashtags, it's fine. I mean, there's no issue with that. But yeah, I think hashtag is something that a lot of people love it and a lot of people hate them. It's pretty much that.
I think with Twitter, you have to specifically buy into that hashtag. Yeah. But I know on platforms like LinkedIn, if you say, oh, I like X, Y, and Z hashtag, it's not like you're following it, but you follow a hashtag and then posts from other people who have tagged with that hashtag will show up in your feed. Unlike Twitter, where you have to specifically go and search on that hashtag. So there's a bit of a difference there. So they are incredibly useful for things like that. And I think I've still got like 100 days of code saved search under a hashtag. So it's a good thing to have. So, right. Just sounds like I'm totally contradicting myself, but I think the consensus is, and from James's question here, is that you should use it to sort of make those initial connections and engagements with people. But obviously there's a balance in that as well. It's not to just be spamming a load of hashtags, you get some engagement from. So yeah, maybe something around, it's all about balance, just like life, I guess.
Yeah, Danny commented like his secret or the secret to Twitter. If you want your content to be seen and if you want to be noticed on Twitter, you have to do one thing. I think we mentioned it earlier before shortly. Just comment on other posts, but add value to the conversation. So like that, people start.
That's what Twitter's for, though.
Yeah, start with getting interest. But yeah, it's misused in many ways, Twitter. So this is what it's supposed to be, what Danny's talking about, but often it's like not at all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good point. And a lot of people just think that they can just post something out and add a load of hashtags to it, get a load of engagement and not actually engage with the people. And I think what Danny was saying, if you comment on someone else's, just be interested and involved in the community, basically, is what you need to be doing. So I think that means is what Danny's saying is people who just like post like just like wang out 250 character tweet and then that's it. Knowing it, people might engage with it, but they don't really tweet back. They just want people to see that tweet and don't really care about anything other than, this is what I'm saying. And I don't really care about your opinion and what you have to say about it. that's just going to harm your engagement, I guess, isn't it? Really. So I think what Danny's saying is just get in on the conversation, not just your one, everyone else's conversation as well.
I guess many people are jumping on the conversations just because they know this tip and they understand that this could bring them something, and still they are focused on vanity metrics and they are not adding something useful or something that would lead the conversation somewhere. They would either like just be trolls and start hating people, or they would just add something like, yeah, fun, lol, ruffle, etc. And the whole tip is like, you just have to comment when you are honestly feeling like you want to comment and you feel like it's just adding something meaningful. It shall be meaningful always. Like if it's not like GIFs are fine in any case. Like if you just want to post a GIF and answer to somebody.
As long as you add your alt tags, you need to add your alt tags, everyone.
I've been doing that lately.
Yeah,
I'm getting better at that.
This for sure, but other than that, just post meaningful things.
No, I love those accounts that come to my tweets. If I say, and if you guys are following me, you know that I joke a lot. I can actually kind of tweet something that it's clearly a joke, but someone who's going to take it serious. And I love those accounts that come and just reply to my tweet saying, no, that's it. I love those. It's like, no, what? Like if you, like Dimitri was saying, like, I'm fine. I can argue. I love constructive criticism. Just like if it's no, explain me why, tell me why. And one thing that Scott said, like it's the engagement. And I think that's really important. When I started back in January, I was following around 500 accounts. And like after probably a week, I unfollowed most of them. And they were all like big influencers, if you can call them influencers if you want. Mainly because of that, because I was replying to their tweets and I wasn't getting like
anything back. Yeah,
exactly. So why do I bother like following someone when I try to add some value to their tweets and I'm not getting like a reply or something. So yeah, I kind of dropped all those big follower accounts.
I have to add on that, like the other point, which is like pretty something that flows well from Telmo's point. Like if you're engaging with people and you see that those people are not interested in engaging with you, then just don't pursue that. Like Twitter is a place where you can and have to build connections. Connections shall be like solid. They shall be fruitful for both parties. If they bring you joy, it's already like bigger part of the equation. So like if you want to be friends with somebody, try to be friends with somebody. If you are polite and if you're having good intentions, if it doesn't work out, just leave it out. Find some other people. There are like people for all the people in the world which can connect.
So let's just appreciate that this whole show podcast was put together by Mark and I. We've never met in person. Same with everyone else on here. So I mean, this is the thing. If we didn't talk to each other, then we wouldn't be doing this, would we?
Like from different countries, connected, build something together. This is how it shall be. Somehow you aligned, and if you are not aligned with somebody, just stop. Find the person that you can align to.
Yeah, I think Telmo was saying as well. If you don't get the engagement, then there's no point in pursuing it, is there really?
Yeah. Oh, we have a question here from
the Denzel.
How useful are Twitter threads compared to normal tweets?
I think
that's a good question.
Yeah, I think
I'd say.
Go ahead.
I think they are very useful because you can share more context and you can share more information. In the past, I didn't like them, and I don't like them in the sense that when you go on mobile view and you go into someone's account, you see all the tweets messed up. If you go into the desktop view, everything is fine because they are in the order you posted them. But other than that, they are very useful and full of information. You get more context of what that person is talking about. And I've seen that the trend starting with Twitter threads, which is the only trend I like, to be honest, because people try to share as much information as possible, and it's very useful for new people, and not even for new people, for all of us, because I learn something new every time. They don't get as much engagement, maybe because it's more work to read all the tweets and make the connection and everything, but they are more useful, and in the long term it's gonna pay, because you dump out quality stuff and you provide value. So from my side, threads are a big yes and very useful.
I'm gonna say that I don't like threads. I think I like the challenge of putting everything I want to say just in 240 characters. No, I'm kidding. Every time I see a thread, I don't do it, to be honest. But every time I see a thread, for some reason, I have the tendency to actually click because, I don't know, it might be, I'm curious to know what's the rest of the thread. But I usually don't kind of miss a thread just by scrolling. If I see a thread, I usually open it and I see all the other tweets that are part of that thread. And like Katalin said, they're really useful. Usually when people like start sharing like resources, if you kind of categorize the resources, like this is design tools, this is development tools, here's books, here's tutorials, etc. They're really useful, especially for beginners.
Yeah, the question is how engaging is the first tweet? Like if it's intriguing, you click on it and you want to know more about it, and maybe you learn more and you keep going. But if it's not that intriguing, you might
it's a spillover. It's a spillover in the second version. Like if the first tweet is really like huge, then like you will have probably like 10%, 10%, 10% on every other one. Probably. Usually it's like that. Yeah. Especially especially the thread is numbered, and if it's not like completely different opinions. Like if it's a list of something, probably people will not go through every other tweet from this thread. That's why I'm also not a big fan of the threads.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually engage with the first tweet because I kind of treat threads as, for instance, a link. And you guys might know, like if you share a link on your first tweet, you don't get that much engagement.
I didn't know this. I only picked this up from Caitlin a couple of weeks ago, so I didn't know this. So
it makes sense. So if you tweet like a tweet with a link, let's kind of look at the flow of the user. The user looks at the tweet, opens the link, checks the content. It's not going to retweet or like or anything. Like you have people that do it, but you don't have as much engagement as a tweet with just text, for instance, because most of the people can just open the link and they forget about coming back or liking or retweeting, etc.
So what you're saying, it should be like marketing sites where you have like a whole massive wall of text, and then at the bottom it's like buy my book sort of thing.
Yeah,
you have that at the end.
You can put that on the second tweet. You can.
So we still haven't plugged your book, Mark. So it's time to plug Mark's book.
Yeah.
Since we are starting
to mark.dev/book and you learn how to be a developer in 10 days.
Yeah, like a Java grifter.
Yeah.
Did you learn from him?
No,
the one and only.
Don't get me started on Java grifter.
I guess Katalin can talk probably a little more about like putting the links on the second tweet, because he's done that before. I never done it. I believe it's efficient, but I never done it. Probably Katalin can share like his experience.
Yeah, I'm just replying to this on Twitter. I just took a print screen of the question. So my idea is, why not do both? For example, you can provide just enough information in threads. You don't have to create like 40 threads. I've seen some people creating threads with 40 tweets and something like that. I will never read that, and I bet 90% of the people will not read it. For me, in the worst case, I'm going to 10 tweets in a thread, and even then it's too much. So what I do, I provide just enough information in the threads to make someone interested or to get the main idea, and in the last tweet I add the link to my blog post or whatever that is for more detailed information, and it seems to work well so far, but we will see. So you can do both in answer to Baran's question.
Okay, yeah, we have another question from Annie Leo. How about Twitter meme trends? Well,
I love these, man. I love these, man.
Yeah.
Francesco started them. They are so funny. I love them so much. I always laugh. I didn't see such a meme and not to laugh. They are amazing.
Yeah, same here. Those memes are always great.
Yeah. It's good to have a bit of levity in your feed, and I love Francisco's stuff.
What I find is that Francesco is really fast doing the memes. I mean, the other day Stas said something like, "We need a meme for this," and in less than probably a minute, Francesco had a meme with, I guess it was Danny's face, something like that. Actually, he said something on the lines of, rate the speed, not the quality, or something like that. But yeah, I love the memes. It's a good trend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he is here. Francesco is here. Hi, Francesco.
Oh, damn it.
The meme god himself.
You can't post memes in the YouTube chat, so sorry about that.
You have no power here. Okay, I wanted to circle a little bit back the conversation to the benefits we all can get from using Twitter well as a developer. There are some aspects of it, like self-documentation, exchanging ideas, keeping up with things, and getting to know more things in your field. I think we should
making yourself accountable as well
about this. What did you say, Scott?
I said it's just about making yourself accountable. I'm just saying for like the 100 days of code thing, 100 days of code thing. So carry on.
I mean, from my experience, the benefits, I mean, it was pretty good to get to know like all of you guys and like seeing all your contents, etc. I mean, that's kind of inspiring. Kind of seeing that many people interested on what I'm sharing is also like exciting, which kind of it's kind of a snowball. So you create content, you see that people are actually engaging and liking, so you end up creating more content, etc. And I haven't been helping a lot of people lately, but when I actually started, I mean, I helped a lot of people, like with free code camp on Udemy. I mean, it's exciting seeing like people getting excited with something that I actually started like 13 years ago. Something that now it doesn't say like much, but it kind of takes me back. So it's exciting to all that kind of stuff. And yeah, if you use well your audience, you can build kind of a career or a business out of everyone that follows you.
So that's a good segue, actually. Oh, Telmo's gone. So that is a good segue, though, into sort of building. I mean, we're talking about making it something which is, you know, you being authentic and selling yourself, basically. But how do you make that as something which is profitable for you? Is like a revenue stream, and you know. Sorry
to jump in here, but I'm just writing an ebook on this. I got several opportunities I cannot talk about right now. both paid and for free, and I'm going to share them soon. And in the book, 6 months ago, I just started my job, and now it feels incredible to have like paid gigs, to be part of communities. And this is not bragging or things like that, because I'm no special. Everybody can do this. I'm just an average developer and person, not a smart ass. So that's why I'm writing this ebook. You can really get great things from Twitter, from blogging, from being on social media. It just depends how you use your time on social media platforms and what's your purpose. But you can make a great career out of this, and I think it's an important step, if not crucial, for people that want to go freelancing. The truth is that you need to network, and you need to know how to sell yourself. Not always the persons with the best skills get the job or the gig or things like that. It's just how you market yourself.
Excellent. Okay, so I mean, fantastic. And you are right, I guess. And it is about making those connections with other people. So plugging a book. So I was going to segue into Mark's book just before you started talking there, Caitlin, but you've got a book to sell as well, so that's fantastic. And I guess I don't know where I'm going with this, really. It's just that people are there's always this balance of, how do I do this quickly? What's the best way to do this? How do I get internet famous, basically? And it's basically it. And I think a lot of the time it just boils down to, like what you're saying, is just being yourself and engaging with people and having that conversation. And congratulations on your speaking gig at, was it Git Nation, Caitlin? You had that recently?
It was to JS Nation, but actually I had Zoom room on career building tips. Thank you.
Yeah. So congratulations on that, and I'm guessing that came your way via Twitter as well.
Yeah, everything came my way because of Twitter and my blog, and I'll talk more about this really soon, because without exaggerating, it's kind of life-changing for me, not because of the money, because I'm not gonna get rich. This is because of the connections I made and the opportunities I got. So if you use social media the right way, it can really change your life for the better or for the worse, depending how you use it.
Yeah, fantastic. That's very poignant. Thank you.
Yes, but I also think besides making connections and getting opportunities from outside, it's Twitter is a great tool to self-document. So you put stuff out there, or you even try to teach someone something with some little tweets or threads or whatever. And before you know it, you teach yourself something by teaching someone else something. That's how it always works. Like you want to make a blog post, and you always have to research something. So you always come out smarter than before, and you add value to someone's journey. I think that's, I do it not enough self-documenting my stuff, because I think it's one of the best things on Twitter, or in general as a developer. You write your thing, so you publish whatever it is you're doing, and it helps you, and as a nice side effect, it helps someone else as well.
Yeah. So there is a saying about the
also by the nature of Twitter and the limit of the letters and symbols, you just teach yourself to be short and on point. This is something that probably not everybody is even understanding when they are writing on Twitter, but after some time it's really like you start to think faster and better and in more concise and logical way. So this is like a huge side effect that you get from consistently posting on Twitter.
Yeah. Also, what I found is I use Twitter as my main source of news in my field. So what's going on in web development? What new tools are there? New frameworks, whatever. It all comes from Twitter. Maybe because I hang out there all day long.
No, like by the way, I had when I've been starting with the Twitter, I thought this is a platform like some dying platform from the US, which is like has no use at all. But only after spending some time on it, I understood that it's one of the biggest tech communities. Whatever you speak about, whether it be development, whether it be some tech products, right? Some tech startups, everything is on Twitter, and this is the place where people are doing the PR for all these kinds of products and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why this is the right place to be if you want to hang out among those people. So it comes as a side effect with the job opportunities, connections, right connections, and maybe some ideas, maybe some technologies in use, like Mark said. But Twitter, like this is the single point that probably every developer must know. Twitter is huge for developers. Like if you want to get into development, get into Twitter for sure, because it will just bring more positive aspects to you than negative.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Absolutely, but a lot of people aren't that talkative as well. I guess it's always good to be a lurker on Twitter as well. You pick up loads of stuff, and what Mark said, you always get to know the next trend, the new hotness, but it can be a bad thing at the same time. So if you just read Twitter for your tech news, you would believe that the whole industry was all running on GraphQL and serverless, but that's not really the truth, because there's still sort of three quarters of the internet which runs on WordPress and PHP and stuff like that. So it is a bubble, but it's a good bubble, and you get a lot of information from it. But there's also there's other stuff out there as well. Basically, so what I'm trying to say is that this is how I took it, was that everything that was done on there was how everything was done, but there's obviously other ways of doing things. So it's quite easy to get roped in to that sort of thing, but you should be aware of other factors as well. So although it's great, and there's so much interesting stuff out there, so many interesting people, it's not the be all and end all, is what I'm trying to say here.
Definitely, you have to filter out, and this is something which is probably could be harmful for the beginner developers and beginner people who are just entering tech. For sure, like this is the point that I 100% agree on. Like if somebody would come to the Twitter and they would just start learning some HTML and JavaScript, they would probably be pressured into like, okay, I'm not learning GraphQL, I'm not learning React, or I'm not learning the CSS and in.js. Am I doing something wrong? And this is something that people should also know. This is the first thing. And the second thing, not everything that people post on Twitter is genuine and even makes sense. Some people will just post things that completely don't make sense. They would just lead you wrong direction, but you never know because you're just entering the industry. And this is the problematic part. And this is something that the community should tackle, I guess. So it shall help filtering out the stuff. I remember there was some tweet, like, I can't remember exactly who was that. It was some guy. He just tweeted something like, "Did you know that you could do blah 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 in JavaScript?" and he got like probably 150 replies in an hour, like, wow, I never knew it, so cool, I will use it, wow, amazing. Only like probably 5 or 6 people just wrote to him, no, JavaScript doesn't have this functionality. And after some hour, he wrote that it was an experiment where he tried to prove that he has followers, he has engagement, he has like lots of people seeing his tweet. And then after all, he just posted some bullshit. Everybody bought it. And basically that was it.
Yeah, but
this is something
would you follow that person really after learning that? I mean, with that thing as well, this comes back to sharing your knowledge, and you know, the best way to learn is to teach. And then you're giving out this information to people who are looking up to you, you know, because you know you've got some authority on Twitter as someone who shares relevant information, and then you just this goes back to the engagement thing, I guess, where you just post some bullshit thing just to get a bit of engagement, and then turns out it's like, oh, actually that wasn't actually true. And then a lot of people will actually see that bit afterwards where you know, he says that's not true, it was me winding you up, pulling your leg or whatever. And then this person is now being misled and doesn't really understand. You know, they've got this sort of misconception of the thing they're talking about. So as developers, I think everyone sort of you sort of develop this sixth sense, as it were, for bullshit, and you can sort of see stuff, and you just think, well, this person is just, you know, talking crap. But then this is after a while, you've been sort of conditioned to it, but then people are new coming into it and they're looking up to this person. That's just not a very responsible thing to do. So I don't think I'd ever do that. Just try to think about my previous tweets now, if I've ever done anything like that. I don't think I have.
Also, many people are also like quite redundant in starting teaching and starting sharing stuff. So they just consume stuff on Twitter and they don't want to create. Why? Because they fear to teach people wrong. And these are conceptually two different things. If you are trying to share your stuff, for example, like Catalin, he's junior developer, but he's sharing his stuff and he's super helpful to other junior developers on his level, right? And you shouldn't be afraid of teaching somebody wrong. But if you are like position yourself as an expert and you're teaching expert stuff and you are passing bullshit to people, this is completely different story. Because if Catalin would just teach somebody something wrong just because he wasn't 100% sure about that, but he still wanted to help those people to know this stuff, this is one thing. And this is totally fine because everybody makes mistakes on every level. Yeah. This shall not cancel your possibility to teach or to share stuff. But if you are positioning yourself as the, like, I don't know, leader, expert, whatever, and you are teaching wrong things, this is bad. And this shall not.
I don't think I would ever do that. Is position myself as an expert in anything, just because of that reason. I will happily take you know, people correcting me just so I could learn. You know, now I've done it the wrong way, and I always sort of, you know, welcome that. And I think there's Sean Wang who said you can learn so much online just for the price of your ego. So just which basically means if you're willing to accept that you could be wrong, then you will learn a whole lot more than just being, you know, I'm the authority on this and this is how it should be, which is not a great mindset to have, I think, especially in development.
Yeah, what I also found is that sometimes people conceive you as an expert, even though you don't say you are, and you don't even think you are. Like, yeah. Like, for example, I got this book deal to write a book on Vue.js, but I don't feel like I'm an expert on Vue.js. I like Vue.js. I pronounce publicly that I love it. I share some tips, but I don't know if I am an expert on the matter. I don't know. I maybe know like half of it. What is there to know? And I think that comes from like if you have 10K above followers, people start to think that you know what you're talking about. But what if you don't?
I think that's the universal truth of.
I remember there was like something really strange, like going on Twitter, like people saying, okay, like I experienced this myself. Like Dimitri is an expert Python developer, and I was like, come on, I haven't written more than like 200 lines of Python in my life. How am I an expert? Or somebody saying, yeah, he's a JavaScript developer, and a person is writing in Swift. They have never written anything in JavaScript. And people just assume facts, and they can like do this. Like exactly like Mark said, they could just place an expert label on somebody just because they have followers. And you could be an expert on technology that you have no clue about. And not an expert.
Yeah.
Influence, isn't it? Influence, I guess.
Yeah, there's a great meme about this that I should share.
So I think that's a good point. Is a lot of web developers will say, I think it's like a universal truth, is no one really knows what they're doing. And it's all just.
I can absolutely say the only thing I can say I'm an expert is by unshading myself. That's the only thing. I can easily manage to, like, do I know what I'm kind of copy pasting? No, absolutely no idea. It's working. It is.
Yeah.
Well, if it works, it works.
I think there's a good point about copy pasting code.
I built my career on it.
And if it works, it works. But you know, if it needs to go into something important, then I guess you should put some time into understanding what it does. But it's the whole
absolutely,
the whole weighing up of things. It's like, this needs to be done by the end of today. It does the thing I need it to do. Done. Over you know, actually spending the time.
And then you can tell one of the most famous developer lies to yourself. Yeah, I'll just reflect it.
Yeah, I think it's a good one as well. From I think Caitlin posted it. Is finished with that bug, and it shows you like a GIF of you closing down like 30 odd browser tabs. And that is how every sort of bug is solved. It's just drilling into Google and you know, many Stack Overflow answers, and just cobble bits together.
I mean,
to do a thing.
Google is a great friend, right? Because in my previous job, I was hired as a Ruby on Rails developer, and I had built applications with Ruby on Rails, but I was not like, I didn't know a lot of it. And I was the only developer there. So I actually had to Google stuff. I had no one saying, look, we're like the code structure is this, this is the code stack, this is something, this is X, that's why. It was pretty much, this is the application, now we need this done. All right, so you actually need to Google stuff. And I think it's one of the most important things a developer can have is know how to Google things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of topic, sorry.
Yeah.
Back to Twitter.
No problem. We talked a lot about how great Twitter is and how you can grow your following. But there's like a little dark side to all of that. Like there's downsides of creating a big following. Is there any?
I would know about that.
Yeah, I think.
Where should I
know
started?
from some of us who suffered from this, but I want to know about Scott and Dimitri as well.
I can't really comment on that. I mean, I don't really think I have a massive following, so I don't really think it's something which is something I've experienced too much of a downside to. Yeah, I mean, I know some people would always get jumped on for anything they post, and that can be quite detrimental to what you want to do, what you want to share. Like I know Danny and I know you, Mark, have been on the sort of negative side of that, but it's I've not really experienced it myself, so I can't really comment about it. So I'll leave it to everyone else, I guess.
Yeah. The thing is, once you get like more followers, people start just taking your tweets out of context and misrepresenting it for something else. So there are people that I don't know if they are bored or envious or whatever, and they just have nothing else to do to just be there all day long, looking through your tweets and finding something that could be misrepresented in some way. Like the other day, I tweeted something like, "I don't negotiate with terrorists." And someone said like, "What? Did you mean Muslims? I'm going to unfollow you." Like, how did you turn that conversation to me being a racist?
And this is something that I wanted to comment on. Basically, one huge downside of having the bigger following than probably, I don't even know what to consider big following, right? For myself, I already consider that it's quite big for me. But the one big downside that I experience is I have to filter out the thoughts before tweeting it. Before it was free exchange between me and the world. So I had some idea, I had some thought, I will just spit it out on the Twitter, and that would be it. Now I have to think about it, I have to tweet it, I have to check it 5 times if I'm not offensive to anybody, right? And this is super huge and big topic. I don't think it shall be like that. Of course, you have to be politically correct, always. Like, you shouldn't offend anybody. But when you are tweeting something like, "I don't negotiate with terrorists," and then being attacked because you, like, I don't know, have something against Muslims, come on. It wasn't there in the tweet. And this is something that you could already like assume. Probably this is the topic I shouldn't tweet about. And this is like, I consider it wrong because like you have to exchange freely with the people that want to feel authentic you, because otherwise it's becoming, you're getting stuck, you're being blocked by some like frame, and then this frame dictates what you tweet. This is not optimal as I would see it, and this is a huge downside for me for the bigger follower.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same. Like I always try to, as you say, analyze the tweets and can it be like misinterpreted in some way? But there are like so many things you have to take care of nowadays that it's so easy to make a tweet that offends somebody out there. And I don't know if we should be more careful tweeting, or if we should maybe just not care because you will always offend someone. That's where I'm a little bit stuck myself. Like, should I do a better screening of my tweets? Like, even thinking like, is it offensive to this, to that, to the other? And then after 15 minutes, okay, now maybe I can tweet it. And then either way, someone comes out from some corner, "Oh, this is offensive to me." Yeah, I don't know how to sort of handle this, but it is a downside of having a built-up following.
Yeah, I mean, you can't please everyone, and that's a fact. I mean, if I share kind of a JavaScript tip, and this happened like a lot, and it kind of puts you down into sharing more stuff, because you start thinking like, all right, I don't want to deal with this, so how can I kind of avoid this? You can avoid that by not sharing tips. I got a lot of if you share a tip saying like, do you know if you use arrow function, you can just like put the function in one-liner? And there's always someone coming replying saying, no, that's wrong. No, it's not. I mean, in my opinion, it's a matter of taste. You write your functions wherever the way you want, but someone saying like, yeah, writing a one-liner function is wrong. It's not user friendly. It's not readable. It's not. I mean, all right. I'm not saying the other way. I'm just saying like, do you know you can do it? So you can't please everyone. And if you think about it, it's just a simple JavaScript tip. I'm not offending anyone. I'm just trying to share some knowledge for some people that might not know that you can do it.
Absolutely.
This is already toxicity. Like I remember when Chris was posting the tweet when somebody like he was just offering tutorials for free, the YouTube ones or on his platform, and somebody was criticizing his VS Code theme. I mean, this is just toxic already. This is not okay. This is not even offending somebody. This is just toxic people trolling you, and that should be ignored, as for me.
First of all, if they don't have real info, and this is not to discard anyone, but everyone is brave under a fake profile photo and fake name and things like that. I understand that not everyone feels comfortable to use their personal details, but if somebody targets me who doesn't use real information, I straight away mute it or block it. And I do this even in cases when people with real details are coming after me. You cannot please everybody, like Telmo said, and the way to failure is to try to please everyone. If you post negative things, some people won't like it. If you post positive things, some people won't like it. If you post JavaScript, some people won't like it. If you post Java, some people won't like it, and the list can go on. So as long as you didn't do something wrong, don't waste time changing people's opinion, because you can't, and it's a waste of time. Everybody believes what they want to believe. I learned through the hard way. I was in some Twitter fights. It's just not worth it. I just ignore it and move on. You'll always offend somebody, even in real life. Some people won't like you just because it's you. Some people will love you just because it's you. Why waste time with people who don't like you? Just focus on people that like you, people you like. Have a great time and move on, as long as you don't do some harmful shit.
Great words. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to leave it for this evening now. So
before we go, can I ask something?
Yeah. I'm going to go. I'm not sure if we're finishing yet, Mark, are we? Or...
All right.
Okay. You go ahead and we keep going a little bit more.
Okay. So
Cheers, Scott. Thanks.
Bye, Scott. Oh.
I just want to ask Dimitri to show that pan skill is doing over there. That's quite impressive, dude.
No, it's pretty basic pan spinning. It's like
no, it's not.
It's not something that's super advanced.
See? Doesn't work.
No, I think I'm doing it since I don't know, 5 years already. So
jeez, that's
I have some skills, but it still is like super basic. Like
that's amazing.
Chinese guys or Japanese guys, they are like
I've seen a few on YouTube. All right.
All right. Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It has been a wonderful session. And I think I will see you all around on Twitter.
All right, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much for having us, and looking forward to more content from you.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Okay, great. Okay, so also goodbye to the audience on the YouTube and on the podcast later on. Bye, everyone.
Bye.